And you're live.
I guess we're live. Vic, my engineer here is fixing some technical difficulties. So hopefully you guys can see us, ladies and gentlemen. I got two buddies on the call today, Larry and Lonnie. It's the Larry and Lonnie show. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Where are you guys calling in from?
I'm calling in from Alabama.
And Indiana.
Oh, you guys are on the east side of this country. I got a riddle for you. You ready?
Uh-oh. Yeah.
The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Do you know?
No.
You're not even gonna guess? I got another one.
An Air Force guy.
Oh my gosh! So everybody that's listening, we're going to be talking to Larry and Lonnie Bedwell, of course, this big adventurer, this kayaker, and Larry Gunter is an Air Force veteran guy. When did we first meet? Was it the year of the Can-Am ride at Face?
No, I actually met you first in Breckenridge.
Breckenridge.
Probably in a ski trip we did up there with Rich Cardillo.
I think you're right. That's right. When we were doing we were staying in that lodge.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we were at this event where they were introducing us to different things like snowshoeing and cross-country skiing and downhill skiing. Lonnie, you've been to that one too. I can't remember what they were calling.
Yes.
They called that. Was that USABA that put that on?
Yeah, it was USAPA, and it was at the Breckenridge Outdoor Educational Center.
Yeah, the United States Association of Blind Athletes. That's what USABA stands for our listeners and viewers.
Oh, real quick, Larry, would you mind pointing your phone down just a little bit?
So
what?
Can you tilt your phone down just a little bit there? Right there. Perfect.
So just for the viewers, Larry and Lonnie, you're completely blind, right, Larry?
I only have light perception, but I don't have the ability to make anything out. So,
I see.
But I'm not in the dark.
No, okay, we're all in the dark.
Yeah.
I got another riddle. I want you guys to try these riddles. I'm trying to get the listeners to. So at the end of the show, you'll get the answer to the first one. The more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? That's the other riddle. And this other one is, what has a what has a head, a tail, is brown, and has no legs? You guys know what that is? If you don't, we'll figure that out at the end of the show.
Snake.
A snake? Nope, it's not a snake.
I figured Lonnie would have these things down.
A snake.
What's that, Larry?
My guess was a snake also.
So Larry, tell me a little bit about who you are and how, the Air Force is an interesting topic, right? Lonnie will give you a hard time about that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just going back, I was a military brat. My dad was Army, and I was born in Fort Hood, Texas. And then my dad got stationed at the end of his career at Fort Benning. So I was at the end of his career. So I grew up in Alabama on the backside of Fort Benning, Georgia. And just, normal childhood, lived out in the country, just, played sports, all kind of stuff like that. Was always really interested in sports. Graduated high school, kind of knocked around a little bit doing construction, worked in the mill a little bit, and then decided to join the Air Force. And I joined the Air Force in June of 1985, went to basic at Lackland Air Force Base.
What was your occupation?
Well, at the time, I became a crew chief on C-130s. But once I graduated basic, we went to school at Shepherd Air Force Base in Wichita Falls, Texas.
Yeah,
when I graduated that school, I left there and went to Little Rock Air Force Base. And then I graduated from that school and wound up getting stationed at Pope Air Force Base in North Carolina.
Jumping around. So tell everybody a little bit about, like, what is a crew chief? You know, when you hear that term or word phrase.
Well, you're in charge of the maintenance on the aircraft. So if there's any maintenance to be done, you have to make sure that it's done. So you have a log book that has everything about the aircraft and the maintenance. So if there's once the plane, say the plane flies and lands, and the pilot and the engineer and them, they'll write down something that went wrong in flight or whatever. They'll say, hey, this is wrong or that is wrong, and you have to make sure that problem is solved and before the next flight. So
and these were on
work your way up.
These were on C-130s specifically, the aircraft, or were you on?
I was just a C-130 Hercules crew chief. So
flying warehouse.
At the end, as you
flying warehouse.
Yeah. So you're responsible to make sure when the crew comes out that, hey, this airplane is airworthy. They're depending on you to make sure that all the maintenance is done, and then you sign off on it and say, I assure you that this plane is ready. It's airworthy.
Absolutely.
And it's a big responsibility.
No, I can only imagine. I mean, whether you're on a helicopter or an aircraft, something flying through the air, you got to make sure the crew is safe and everything that you're carrying and the aircraft itself. Let me ask Lonnie to introduce himself a little bit. Lonnie, because you were in the Navy, why don't you tell us a little bit about serving in the Navy in a totally different kind of environment?
Yeah, I was a bubblehead.
What's a bubblehead?
I went through nuclear power school, machinist mate, and then I rode submarines for my entire career. Actually, I just rode one submarine for a little over 5 years. The USS Oklahoma City. It was a fast attack submarine, ballistic missile capability, and that's what I did. Had a lot of fun. Good crew.
I mean, it's supposed to, both you guys. It's interesting, you know. One's in the air, one's underwater, and I mean,
and
I
you
can
were
only
on the ground,
and I was on the ground, exactly. So we got Army, Air Force, and Navy right here.
And Marine Corps.
Oh, that's right, Marine Corps too.
Yeah.
Right, we're representing right here on this call. That's the engineer,
Yeah.
Vic. But Larry, you know, like,
yeah.
go ahead,
Someone
Lonnie.
told me a joke the other day, though, real quick, about
Oh,
Coast Guard. You know, they said, you know, the difference between if a Coast Guard ship goes down and a Navy ship goes down, Coast Guard guys, they can just walk home. Anyway, bad joke.
Oh,
There you
no,
go.
no.
They're not here being represented today, so I can pick on them. Yeah.
No, you know, like I've told you, Lonnie, but Larry, this show I kind of dedicate to people I've met and what I, you know, and it's interesting how a lot of you guys have shaped my life and influenced me. And I know yesterday we were talking, I want you guys to be loose, you know, just be loose and relax. Let's have a conversation. You guys can interrupt each other, whatever. But we were talking about, you know, I think the importance of accepting, you know, your disability or, and not having a issue with asking for help. And we were talking about sports. Before we go into that though, Vic has primed a video that might set a tone for everybody. We did this big bike ride. I think it was over 700-800 miles between the capital of Canada, Ottawa, to the capital of the United States, Washington D.C. For those of you who don't know, and so they captured this. They built this video, and World Team Sports was the organization that put this on. And maybe Vic, we can play that. Listen in, guys. We can do some commentary over it too.
Right.
Do you have it, Vic? Do 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 do. Okay,
Here it comes.
Here it comes.
The tires were checked, the chains were oiled, the seats were adjusted. and as the sun rose over the Canadian countryside, the riders set out. They came from different places. Their bikes were of different shapes and different sizes, but what they all had in common was they all had stories to tell.
Especially Larry. The Larry and
We
Bob
set out
Show.
from Ontario on the 20th of June. We began in Ottawa. Within the course of 2 weeks, we would travel to Washington, D.C.
Yeah.
Our arrival was set for the 4th of July. Our team was fearless. Our path was challenging and the terrain was demanding. For 3 of our cyclists, the lands would have to be conquered without the use of their legs.
My name is Christopher Lee Levy.
David Santamore.
Jens Søndergaard.
I
Jens.
spent 6 years active duty in the Marine Corps.
I served in Afghanistan first.
I went to Vietnam, 72, 73. I survived Vietnam and a bunch of other stuff.
I lost both my legs.
I was trying to buy this car, or actually it was a truck, and the guy wanted an arm and a leg for it, and I talked him down to just a leg.
Everybody, regardless of their mental
horrible.
or physical state, can laugh.
Very nice truck, though.
On the 3rd day of our adventure, we crossed by ferry into the United States. Of our 16 veterans, 2 had completely lost their vision. They rode bikes led by pilots that helped them push through the journey.
Uh-oh.
These 4 were our tandem riders.
My name is Larry Gunter.
Hi, Larry.
And I'm Robert Clay.
Victor Henderson.
He's my pilot.
He's your pilot, great.
Larry and Steve are
I just knew that me and him would be friends. I just knew it. I mean, even though, he's from New York, I'm from Alabama.
It's really been a tremendous experience, a lot of fun.
Washington, D.C.
Every rider had hundreds of miles behind them. Some did it without legs, some did it without sight. Everyone did it without complaint and without giving up. On the morning of Independence Day, we finally arrived in Washington, D.C.
All of their stories, I think, have the same baseline foundation in that they willingly, offered their lives to defend their country.
I feel great. I feel absolutely wonderful. What a great conclusion.
Everyone here is amazing. There's no bad people here. It's not about, oh, look at us, we're putting on this thing for veterans. It's solely for the veterans. I get overwhelmed when I think about how lucky I am. Every day I'm out there weeping because I think about the opportunity that I have, and it's just amazing. It's really good.
So I think it's showing some text now, right?
Through the good times and the tough times, we had ridden 776 miles together. Although our journey had come to an end, none of us would depart in spirit. We completed our journey not as a set of acquaintances, but as a team. Many different individuals started this trip, but we ended as one.
Can-Am Veterans Challenge presented by World Team Sports.
Yeah, World Team. Thanks. You can stop it now, Vic.
Yeah.
It was a bit dramatic, right? I mean, I really enjoyed the ride though, and got to really know you better than Larry. What did you think of that ride? Like, have you done anything bigger than that?
Well, I did the Ride Across America in 2012.
That's right.
With World Team Sports, which was called Sea to Shining Sea.
Yep.
So I did that ride. But what I liked about the Can-Am ride was it was one of the best group of people that have ever participated. Everybody, I don't remember a crossword on that ride. I mean,
I think you're right.
Everybody getting along.
And was that not the same on the Sea to Shining Sea? Well, that was a long ride. That's like 3,800 miles.
2 months and 3,800 miles. There's going to be some, some dust ups along the way, especially we were doing it in the middle of the summer, and that year there was a heat wave. So there was days we rode in Kansas when it was well above, 105 degrees. So, and like you said, 2 months together, that's a long time to be out on the road.
No,
But it was a great adventure. Don't get me wrong. But I think also the Can-Am Challenge was a small group. There was only about 12 to 15 of us total.
Yep.
And just, I don't know, it just had a family feel to it.
Oh, it was great.
I was going to say 2 days with Larry is almost 2 months.
Lonnie spent a week with me in Montana.
Yeah.
We spent a bunch of time on the Appalachian Trail too recently.
Yeah.
What's funny is when I met Lonnie, I had not been off the Sea to Shining Sea bike ride for 1 week. I literally got home, unpacked my bag, and flew out to Montana to do the kayaking trip.
The Out of Sight clinic.
With Team River Runners, yeah, Out of Sight. Yep. That's when I first encountered Lonnie Bedwell.
It is an encounter.
Yeah. If you ever heard of the Dancing Bear, this is the Dancing Lonnie.
Throw him back, Lonnie. We know you got jokes.
Dances with something.
You guys are crazy.
I just enjoy it. Hey, I got a question though. You talked about graduating high school. See, what was that? How old were you? 24 at the time?
No, I had left Indiana, Lonnie, where you guys graduated 12.
Oh, okay.
After the second grade.
Yeah. As we talk though, that's and the video with that white guy talking, give it, like sell it to him for just one leg. Humor is where it's at, isn't it, guys? I mean, seriously, when you can find humor in all the difficulties, or if you will,
dark things,
and people find it like, why do they crack up like that? Why do they say that stuff all the time? It just makes life easier.
Oh yeah, people are really uncomfortable around it until they spend like multiple days a week, an expedition time frame, and then everybody starts relaxing and I think they understand. I don't know, when we were on the ground in Iraq, there were a lot of things that you saw or experienced that there was just the words to explain the horrible things were usually curse words. I mean, most guys, that serve understand that every third word is probably a curse word in a war zone. And so, I mean, it's a similar thing, I guess, if you come home and you just to own it, to accept it, like Larry, like we were talking about, you just have to be able to joke about it. And I think in this atmosphere nowadays, it's kind of interesting what is okay and what is not okay to joke about, like the politically correct stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can tell people are uncomfortable sometimes. I found that sometimes they don't know how to approach you, or you're standing there and they're talking to somebody and they're almost like intimidated to speak to you because they just don't know how to approach you. It's like, I don't know if I should speak to that person or not.
Because blindness is infectious.
I tell people all the time, I go, look, speak to me. Tell me, hello, you're here. That way I'll know. You know what I mean?
Don't you hate that?
I know that. Yeah.
I mean, like when you walk into a hotel, I'll walk in the front door and I'll be on my own trying to find the front desk, and I'm listening,
right.
And I'm walking around and I hear people walking by me, and I'm like, hello, where's the front desk? And someone walks by me, another person walks by. I'm like, did you guys not hear me? I'm looking for the front desk. And that can be, you got to realize, for our sighted counterparts, I'm not trying to be mean, but I feel like people are being mean to me, or ignoring me in those moments. And maybe they're nervous, or anxious. I don't know what's going on in their mind, but all I need is a helping hand.
Yeah, I'll give you a funny story. I was getting ready to do a bike ride couple years back, and I had got down to the lobby before my pilot. And anyway, I wanted a cup of coffee. And I was in the right area where the coffee was because, you know, you could smell it in the breakfast area. I was at half it in. So I heard this guy getting coffee. So I walk up there, I've got my cane. I go, hey, you wouldn't mind getting me a cup, would you? He goes, I'm in a hurry. And he walks off.
Oh, my gosh. That's...
Yeah. Thought, damn, dude, you're in that big of a hurry? I don't want cream or sugar. I just want a cup of black coffee.
Man, I'm in a hurry. I got to go.
So an older gentleman overheard him, and he goes, I'll get you a cup of coffee. I'm like, I sure appreciate it. That's all I want, you know?
Yeah.
I think
it's got to make me an omelet or something.
I think I think the funniest thing that's ever happened to me, man, is I went through blind rehab at a hospital in northern Illinois near Chicago, Edward Hines Jr. VA Hospital. And, you know, you learn how to walk around indoor orientation and mobility, O&M, or outdoor orientation and mobility. And so you learn this hospital really well. You learn, you know, to walk around it. And I was walking with authority. You know, I was walking like down the hallway. I wasn't like, I didn't look lost. And maybe it's because everybody wants to be helpful or something. But the guy shouts at me, goes, "Hey, are you lost?" And I was like, do I look lost? I mean, it was the strangest thing because I wasn't lost at the moment. I was just going down to my appointment, walking with authority, like I said. And it was just the funniest thing. It blew my mind, and I've not had that happen to me in a long time. But yeah, it's interesting. I guess people are just trying to be helpful. I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where'd Larry go?
Totally.
Now,
Larry, you still there, man?
yeah, I got an alert saying low battery, but when I came up, I had 90% battery. So I don't know what's going on.
Huh.
When you're on video, you're going to eat it up a lot.
That's all right. You can.
Well,
I don't know if you can plug it in.
You can plug it in if you want, Larry.
Well, I can, but I'm gonna have to swap headphones, so I can do that.
No worries, man.
Let me
Oh yeah,
go
the
down.
headphone
I'm
thing
walk
with
down.
the. Yeah.
Yeah, let me walk down and plug it in real quick.
I'll chat with
I don't
Lonnie.
think I don't think
Go
your
ahead.
phone's the only thing with low battery, though, man.
So Lonnie.
It's funny.
Hey, Lonnie, can you shift to your right just to hear?
Lonnie, you're out of the frame.
You're out of the frame.
Come on, didn't you see
Is that
it?
better, buddy?
Other way. Sorry. There we go. I just want
There
to
we
make
go
sure
again.
everybody can see your beautiful
Yeah, like I
face.
said, I'll end up getting a little stand for this thing and make it work.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, we could use your laptop. This application can be installed on a PC too, as well, Windows. So,
Yeah.
but
Talking about Edward Hines, I hopefully will be. My application was accepted, so I don't
cool.
have a date to go up there yet. And,
Okay, you guys are gonna lose me sound-wise for just a second.
Oh yeah,
I'll swap this out.
it'll be.
darn the bad luck.
I'll be right back.
You don't have to. You can just use the speakerphone, Larry. Don't worry about it. Just plug it in. It'll be fine.
He done disappeared.
He done disappeared. He went dark.
Am I back with light?
What's that?
Oh, you're back. Yeah, he said, "Is he back with light?"
I can see the light, Larry.
Don't see any video yet.
I'm putting on a different set of earbuds so I can.
Lonnie, what's next for you, man? Where are you going in life?
Oh, next for me is I'm going to Montana in about 10 days and
What's
going
going?
out there to a film festival that the little film company here in Bloomington, Indiana, Blue Line,
Yeah.
did a little documentary, and it got accepted in the film festival out there, Big Sky Film Festival.
Oh, yeah, Big
in
Sky.
Missoula.
Yep.
And I will be flying out there.
Do they have a name for the film?
Yeah, Feel of Vision, F-E-E-L.
Feel of Vision.
F-E-E-L.
And
Feel
is there a
of Vision.
web presence? Is there a website?
No, not yet.
Nothing.
There's
Okay.
going to be an announcement that I can't make yet. That
Okay.
someone's picking it up, and So I don't know. That should be coming out soon, though. And people, I think actually you're in that video, Steve, in that documentary.
Maybe I remember the team being there in when we were in West Virginia or I don't remember. Yeah, we were when we were
guys,
the yacht.
I'm back. I don't know if I'm back visually, but I'm back audio.
I know visually, man.
Can you see me, Vic?
I can't see you.
Some kind of miraculous something happened.
Is that a joke, Larry?
Hey, it's a damn miracle. I can see.
Do you have a visual, Larry? I mean, that's
What's that? Do you have a visual of me, Vic?
No, I just see Larry's iPhone is talking.
Yep. You gotta go back and turn the video thing back on.
Yeah, let me see if I can get that.
Anyway, that's cool about the film, man. The
Oh, there he is. All right.
We got you.
Nice. The handsome man has returned.
Yeah, you know. Where is he? I don't see him. Hey,
anyway, let's get back to me.
Question there. Got both you guys. I really like, because I had someone ask me this the other day, and they wanted to kind of an answer is, what is your answer to what is the power of sport?
The power of
sport. What would
sport.
your answer be to that? What is the power of sport? That was the exact question. So, what's your answer to that?
I think discipline and, goal oriented to, I think it's just discipline.
Yeah, I mean,
and enjoyment.
The power of sport. What was the context, Lonnie? Someone asked.
Within, something happens to you, and then you kind of rebound. What's the power of sport?
Well, I'm asking, like, someone asked you this question just recently.
Yeah.
It's like that moving is living mantra. That for me, the power of sport, because of my loss of ability, my inability maybe to do certain things that I once did using my eyes, it was a traumatic blow to my psyche and my mindset and mentality. So the power of sport for me, especially the past decade, has been, it's empowered me. It's given me strength. And I really feel like I'm alive when I'm doing stuff. I would assume you guys feel the same. Yeah.
I agree. It lets you participate in life. And, it gives you camaraderie, especially when you're blind, because usually you're participating in a sport that involves somebody helping you, whether it be cycling or hiking or running, whatever.
It's a team effort.
You have a guide or something. So, and it's also a lot of teamwork.
It's interesting because I say to people I don't play the team sports anymore, but when I think about it deeply, meaning like basketball, baseball, football, but when I think about it deeply, I always have a teammate or a team working with me, climbing mountains, skiing down the mountain, whatever it may be, kayaking down a river.
Kayaking.
There's a team involved, or a very we're like Blue Angels, man. When we're doing stuff, I mean, we're working really hard to coordinate and communicate and shoot, move, and communicate, man. That's what it is. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Vic, so I don't know if I'm in the camera angle or not.
What was that?
Am I in the camera?
Oh, yeah, for the most part. You can tilt down just a little bit and get you more in there.
What were you going to say, Lonnie?
Okay.
There you go. He's chilling out in his bed, aren't you?
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, I had to go from the other room to this room where my charger was.
That's fine.
Oh, gotcha.
What were you asking, Lonnie?
I was going to ask, what do you do on a daily basis down there in Alabama?
Bama.
Well, we kind of do what you do. We get up and we eat breakfast.
You guys?
I tell you what.
Grits, no, seriously.
You guys
I'm
hunt possums?
What is the daily life? I mean, I know what you kind of do on your bike ride. You do quite a bit of that, but I've really in all our conversations, I've not got into
that's horrible.
That much with you. What's a daily life for Larry Gunter down there?
Well, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I have a bus that picks me up at the house and takes me to the YMCA, and I'm usually there from about 9:30 in the morning to 12:30, and I get a good workout with the weights, and then I steam and sauna, and then I come back home and eat some lunch, and then I have a dog, female lab, retriever mix, and then me and her, after I eat lunch, we'll usually go for a 3-4 mile walk, and then I just, relax. And my wife recently retired, so I have her home now. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, my mother comes by, and me and her go to the park, and we've been walking for about 25 years, me and her. So weather permitting, I walk with her, and so I stay active. I learned a long time ago, you just can't sit. I mean, you've got to have a plan of activity. So I just keep myself busy, and between the Y, walking my dog, going for walks with my mother, and stuff like that. And then I help around the house. I do laundry, load the dishwasher, take the trash out. I mean, I try to do everything that I'm capable of doing. I never want to use my sight or lack of sight to say, oh, well, I can't do that, or I don't want to do this. Or, you know what I mean? You just got to stay busy and stay active.
Well, it's important to do the daily things. I mean, Lonnie's, he's big on construction. He's working carpentry, and he's working on a home project right now, right, Lonnie?
Yeah, doing a little remodel here in the house, and then just kind of finished wrapping up wiring the house.
And he's doing it completely blind.
I got the opportunity to work with a bunch of high school kids as they built the home, and they call the class building trades, and had some of them teaching them a little bit on how to do the wiring of a home, and they kind of freaked out the first time they saw me driving a nail, I guess. Set me up or up in the rafters, but yeah, just keep busy doing everything I can. So.
Well, you just living life. I find it.
Exactly.
I find it interesting. People who are sighted, their perspective of some. I don't want to generalize, but some are really fascinated that we can do this or that. I mean, we're the same people we were before we lost our sight. We just we are not very proactive anymore in our sense of moving. We have to plan for a lot of things and have these strategies and techniques, TTPs, tactics, techniques, procedures, right? And that's really what it's all about. And I always find it interesting when people are really impressed about something that's, it's just a normal thing for me, but I don't know how to explain it in words. I mean, but I do like what Larry, I notice, and I notice with Lonnie especially, that you guys, when you guys carry yourself, you do it with a lot of pride, and you want to get things done, and you want to do it to the best of your ability, and it doesn't matter. Sight's not going to keep you from doing that. Loss of sight is not going to keep you from doing that. Vision without sight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like Lonnie says, vision without what's your saying, Lonnie?
I don't know. What you mean, like visions in the mind?
If it's dark, turn the light on.
Is that the one?
Yeah, something you always spouting something off about vision. You have some kind of vision.
I said I lost my eyesight. I didn't lose my vision.
Exactly, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, in organizational skills, you learn a lot more that. You stay more organized, and I tell you another thing about losing my sight. It has taught me patience.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
One thing about blindness, you better learn to be patient, or you're going to live a miserable.
Yeah, and that's the key too. I think is having people around you that are patient, and we can wear on it. We all lose them and don't, but. Man, having someone around you that is patient and doesn't want to just take things out of your hands and do it for you all the time.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah, it's such a two-way street, and it truly, truly is. And
yeah, that's what I meant. I've learned patience to be patient with people that are helping me, or when I'm asking for it. Because I don't think people realize how much help is needed when you're blind. It's not the fact that you're lazy or anything like that. It's just that there's certain tasks that are just hard to do if you're blind. If you had a sighted person standing right there with you that can do it 10 seconds where it takes you 5 minutes, it's just easy to say, hey, you mind doing this for me? You know what I mean? And then be grateful when they do it.
Oh, yeah. That was really hard. For me, it was so instantaneous, loss of sight, and then waking up in Walter Reed, going 150 miles per hour as a soldier on the ground, on a battlefield, and then being very independent, being very spatially aware of what's going on, using vision to the utmost, to your utmost abilities, and then to wake up in a bed, tubes hanging off you and all kinds of stuff, and you can't move. I remember feeling suffocated and like in this black abyss, and it was just everybody wanted to do everything for me, and for a long time, the first few years, I was trying to figure out how to deal with that, like how to approach people and not get impatient or upset or mad. I remember standing in a line for the first time as a blind person and not being able to witness progress or people were failing to let me know, and trying to understand and realize, okay, I have to be more vocal. I have to be more vocal at times where I was not so vocal when I was sighted, right? It was very, that was very frustrating. I mean, I assume you guys would agree. Those kind of...
Yeah, at times, and
I don't know. It was for me. So.
Yeah. Oh, it was, and it is at times.
If you guys can remember, how old are you guys? I should say how young you guys are. I mean,
yeah, I just turned 56.
Hey man, I can't, I have trouble seeing and I walk with a cane. So I mean, that makes me old.
Last time I looked in the mirror, I was 31.
Well, I was 22 last time I looked in the mirror. Then.
Well, Steve, me and you have a couple of events coming up together.
Yeah, that's true.
We're going to do the thing in Dahlonega,
yep.
And then the canoeing trip in Missouri.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to have Danny on here to talk about that, and Joe and Danny talk about the Ranger Camp too here in the future. So you're speaking of the Ranger Camp, which Blind Endeavors Foundation puts on at Camp Frank D. Merrill in Dahlonega, Georgia. It's for those viewers and listeners. Camp Frank D. Merrill is where a mountain phase of Ranger School, U.S. Army Ranger School, is held. And so we have a contingent of British and American veterans, blind veterans, that come out, and they get to climb on some of the obstacles the Ranger recruits work on, and do some rappelling, some rock climbing on natural rock, and knot tying, all kinds of things that basically what U.S. Army Ranger recruits go through. We're not starved and sleep deprived, but but we, it's Rangers truly lead the way. That's what I like to say, because they help us. Well, it's a lot of guys that are retired that live up there. That give their heart and soul to wounded warriors. So it's a cool thing.
Oh, listen, tremendous shout out on the Appalachian Trail hike, because
most definitely
those guys were tremendous.
We had some legends with us.
I went in. I left there with a lot of respect for those guys and how they helped us and navigated that hike. It was a tremendous challenge for me, and I was grateful that we had those type of guys leading us.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
On that trail.
I won't drop any names, but there were legends on service members who served in the Iranian hostage siege. Those are some of the first special operation
Grenada,
missions.
Panama,
Grenada. Yep.
Somalia.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, from iconic units, that's special operation units, and it was an honor to be part of. I don't think it'll ever happen again like that. You know.
I'd definitely love to give a shout out to the medics.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, you talk about push through though. I got to give it to you on that one. I don't want to give you too much credit for anything, but yeah, just because you're from Alabama and from the Air Force. But no, you pushed through on that trail, man. Your feet were absolutely destroyed, and legs and.
Tell people about that, Lonnie. Or, I mean, Larry and Lonnie.
Yeah.
Like, what was that? No, we haven't introduced that. It was the Blind Appalachian Trail, and it was sponsored by a few different organizations. The Blind Veterans Association was, you know, we're always trying to raise awareness about what blind veterans are doing and how people can help. But Larry, he's ragging on you a little bit, but you were your feet. Everybody's feet to a certain degree, you know. It was
well, yeah.
The humidity.
You know, listen. I lost a couple of toenails. I had some bad blisters, and then I wound up getting a spider bite somehow, and it kind of got infected. But I have had a couple of nice tumbles. You know what I mean?
Your arms were bruised up, is what someone was telling me.
Yeah. Well, what was funny is,
were you?
One guy walks up to me and he goes, "What in the hell is wrong with your arms?" I go, "What are you talking about?" He goes, "They're like black and blue." It's where I was actually hitting the trees. You know how the trees were right on the trail. So, I'm just walking along, and next thing you know, I'm bumping into a tree. You know what I mean? And you just keep going. So,
who put that tree there?
They must have put them trees in behind us or something, Steve. I don't know.
Yeah. But those guys did a tremendous job with my blisters and all that. I mean, they really did. And listen, I was able to do it, and I told my wife when she picked me up at the end. She goes, "Well, how was it?" I go, "I'll be honest with you. It was one of the most challenging things I have done as a blind person."
Moving. I think moving over.
I showed up in shape, but it was a grueling hike for me. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it. It was tough, but I was proud that I finished it.
Hell yeah!
You know, I tell people three things when I show up for an event. Is one, I'll show up in shape. Two, I'll have a good attitude. And three, I'll be a team player. And those three things I can guarantee you. Now, I may not be able to do the event. I
have a big mouth.
But it won't be because I didn't show up ready.
You're competitive, Larry. I mean, it's a good thing. It's interesting, you know, Lonnie's question about the power of sport, and I think it drives you. You're driven by, and maybe it's just competition with trying to be the best man. You know, it's an individual thing, but this Appalachian Trail trek, which, you know, I didn't frame it for everybody completely. It was to celebrate the anniversary, or to commemorate, memorialize June 6, 1944, the invasion of Normandy, Operation Overlord. Well, you know, there were 5 beaches that the Canadians, British, and Americans came across in Normandy, France. And so on June 6th of last year, was it last year? I can't remember.
D-Day.
Well, no. I mean, it's D-Day. Yeah, but we did the hike last year, right? Or was it?
Yes.
Yeah. We finished up last year. Mm-hmm.
So we ended the hike. It was a 74-mile trip, right? 74th anniversary of D-Day.
Yep.
And it was basically the entire Georgia section. We cut off to go to hike down to Camp Frank D. Merrill, where I was talking about the Ranger camp, to rappel down the cliffs, because the Rangers took Point du Hoc, these cliffs where there were artillery pieces on the beaches of Normandy, France, in World War II. And so we finished our long hike there at Camp Frank D. Merrill, where it's home of the 5th Ranger Training Battalion. And so it was a really cool experience, like we've been saying, to be with those guys, and to have that opportunity to represent the country and those who are serving and who have served. Larry, tell me a little bit about your travels, like as when you're a crew chief. Like, did you party every evening when you got into like different parts of the world? What was going on?
Yes.
Yes.
Look, I got to go all over Europe, and so we used to go to Athens, Greece. The Air Force had a base there, and you would fly till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then rush back to the hotel, shower, change, and go downtown Athens. And, just,
you Air Force guys, man.
Well, I mean, it's a bad TDY when you don't have a 5-star hotel to stay in. So
a 5-star hotel, yeah.
Yeah, I remember sitting in Torrejon, Spain, in Madrid, sitting in the Plaza Mayor, drinking a glass of sangria, going, "Wow, I'm getting paid to do this."
Hey, I've been in palaces.
Paying to do this, I'm getting paid to do it.
Well, I stood full battle rattle, body armor and everything with a machine gun in a palace. So I can relate. I'm getting paid to do this.
Yeah, I mean, I got to go. I spent a month in Kenya. Germany, Italy, Spain, Greece, England, all over. Wound up going down to Central America a little bit.
Did you do a lot of repeat?
Very fortunate.
Did you do a lot of repeat visits? Did you to certain places?
Oh yeah, there was a lot of places. What you did, especially in Europe, we had a mission called rotation, and we would fly out of Mildenhall, England. So basically, what you did was we call it hauling trash. You just carried stuff to different bases. You know what I mean? Whether it be weapons or
parts,
supplies or people, whatever. And you just hit all kind of bases. And it was just, you'd fly in, say you'd go into Ramstein, and you'd spend a couple of days in Ramstein. And then next thing you know, you were flying to Aviano in Italy. And then you'd leave there and go to Rota, Spain. And you just, stuff like that. So it's funny that I got to see all this stuff, and now that I'm blind, I think how fortunate I was to do all that traveling.
I feel the same.
What I mean?
Yeah, I feel the same way as you do there. Yeah, I got to see it. We didn't hit a whole lot of ports when I was on the boat, but I did get to see a few places, and then quite a bit of the United States before I lost my eyesight. And I'm like you. I feel so fortunate that I had
Lonnie,
that opportunity.
Yeah, you tell that crazy story of being like in the hull, in between the hull. I don't know the terminology, and of course, for people that don't understand, like when you're in a submarine and you dive deep, there's a lot of pressure. So we talk about that a little bit, Lonnie. Lonnie was a naval submariner, nuclear submariner. So
yeah, this is the boat I was on is about 33 feet across, and it's amazing how much that compresses as you dive. And everything is sound mounted on rubber mounts to try to make it as quiet as possible. But the story you're talking about was we had a lube oil sump that was suspended off of sound mounts, and it was hanging about, probably 10 inches off the frame. And I was cleaning down in the frame bay with my belly over one of the frames and that sump just above my back, and we started diving deeper. And as soon as I felt this start diving deeper, I knew that I had to roll into that frame bay or it would completely crush me. And I rolled into the frame bay in between the ribs, if you will, just like your ribs on your body, that little space in between the ribs. And I was trapped there, because it compressed, and I was trapped there on my back.
That's the water pressure compressing
the hull. Yeah,
the
water pressure just pressing the hull in and compressing everything. And
you guys were
literally, I had a few meals under there. And they shoved blankets down under. It's something people don't think about, but with my back against the hull, I had to really, even though I was in that space, I had to worry about hypothermia.
Well, paint a picture for everybody, because put it in context, because I think people aren't understanding. The reason they dived is because you guys were sneaky, or you guys were trying to. You were either on
we were doing a little bit of a mission, and operating conditions determined that we had to dive, and we couldn't come back up for quite some time, and then. I don't know what it was, probably 18 hours, something like that. I don't really remember.
You laid in a spot for 18 hours.
They finally got a window of opportunity. They were able to come up just enough in depth that I was able to squeeze out, and then just boom, right back down we went. So otherwise, if that window of opportunity hadn't arisen, who knows how long I'd have been there.
Jeez. That's,
I got a war story.
Go. Let's hear it, Larry.
So when I was doing the bike ride across America, I was at a table with some Marines and some soldiers, and they were all talking about what they missed about the military, and they were talking about shooting mortars and going to the range, and they're like, man, I really miss shooting the 50 cal and this and that. So it kind of rotated around. They got to me, and they're like, what do you miss about the Air Force? I go, what do I miss? I miss the topless beaches in Athens, Greece. That's the closest I've come to anything.
Oh gosh, I can't. Right? I mean,
truly though, what I miss is just the people. Just the camaraderie. Yeah. I mean, we had a top-notch crew, and it was just amazing.
Oh yeah, man. My buddy.
I'm still friends with a lot of people that I was in the service with.
Absolutely. We're the funny thing is we're all of us on this call as service members, so it's interesting that it's a brotherhood, sisterhood. Did you have anything crazy happen with the aircraft ever? Like, of the time that you served, Larry?
Well, I mean, I've flown where we had to shut down an engine in flight because of oil cooler.
There's 4 engines on a C-130, correct?
Huh?
There's 4 engines on a C-130.
Right, right. Yep. So I've been where we had to shut down an engine in flight, land with 3 engines. I was going into Goose Bay one time, and the left landing gear froze. It wouldn't come down. So you have to
manually
crank it down.
Yep.
And then take a chain and wrap it around the gear, the strut, chain it down to the floor so it won't pop back up when you land. So I mean, but those are things that you it's not so much you train for, it was things that you were taught, and then the manuals that, hey, if your landing gear won't come down, this is the steps you take to secure the landing gear and get it down. So, but what was funny is when the landing gear wouldn't come down, we had some passengers on there, and I remember their eyes just being big as saucers, like, oh my God, what are they doing over there? But that was probably, as far as that goes, just stuff like that. But I did fly out in Vegas on, we called it red flag, and the C-130 is flying low level through those canyons and all that, and that was pretty intense. The amount of force that they were flying at.
They were flying the plane hard, yeah.
They were baking it.
Yeah, you kind of make light of what you did, though, Larry. But we all know it's crucial. Getting that equipment and getting that gear and getting those people from point A to point B when it needs to be there. It's crucial. I mean, you had a good time and enjoyed it, but absolutely crucial.
We love our air power.
Most of my career, our mission was the 82nd Airborne.
Mm-hmm.
I was stationed right there at Fort Bragg at Pope Air Force Base, and we were there for one reason and one reason only, and that was the 82nd and the Special Forces and all that. So we were always doing something with the Army, whether it was lacing the tanks and the equipment, which is, a low altitude parachute extraction, or, dropping troops, jumping out. And we'd also come down and do the airborne school at Fort Benning, Georgia, for their initial jumps.
I have a question, Larry.
That was always interesting.
The lace, the low altitude extraction.
Yes.
Are you talking about when you guys drop vehicles out the back of the C-130?
Yeah. Tanks, vehicles. What they do is they rig it with. We had a group called MAPS, which was Mobile Aerial Port Squadron. Anyway, they would rig it on a pallet. And then the loadmaster would rig, and they would rig a parachute to it. So when they got to the drop zone, they would let the ramp down, open up the back door, and pull the thing, and the parachute would extract out, and then it would just pull that tank or jeep or artillery or whatever it was right out the back off of something like a skid. We called it a pallet.
Yeah, no.
So that was always interesting to watch.
Did you ever? What's that? It's the rocket-assisted JADOs. The JADO. Have you ever been on? You know what I'm talking about? Have you?
No, I knew the JADOs, the JADO bottles and stuff.
Yeah, for assisted takeoff. You ever experienced that on any of the C-130s?
No,
I think it was for short.
JADO assist takeoff.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe Vic can find a video of that. No, that I've seen
exactly
that.
what you're talking about, though.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's interesting. Yeah. I remember watching videos of them dropping. It may have been C-17s, not C-130s. The C-130 can't fly a Abrams, right? I don't believe it can. I don't think it can.
I'm not sure which tank that we had at Fort Bragg at the time.
Maybe it was
I remember
a Bradley fighting vehicle
inside the plane, and there was literally just inches on the side, the sidewalls, where this tank was just taking up the room of the whole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've just seen these videos where they skim the ground and they literally slide the vehicle. It was part of a mobility, this mobility maneuver. I just trying to get things on the ground into different parts of the world quickly, but it was insane. And I thought maybe they were C-17s, but which is a jet aircraft.
Well, we actually lost a plane and a few crew members when I was at Pope, and I had worked on that plane prior to it trying to do a lakes mission, and it came in too steep and too fast, and when it tried to extract the tank, it just bounced off the ground, and
wow.
I think the pilot died. Well, I tell you what, 2 loadmasters died. The co-pilot died. The co-pilot survived, and I flew with him later, and he had been severely burned in that accident. But I mean, people think that you're out there training, but it's dangerous. I mean,
oh my gosh, yeah. When you're
training is dangerous. When people say, "How did somebody die in a training accident?" Well, you're actually trying to simulate live action.
Yeah. We did so much of that on the boat the same way. I mean, you'd put it on the edge of things, and just so if crap did hit the fan, that you'd know what to do. And we had a couple of fires on board, which is one of the biggest nightmares you could have on a tin can under the water. So and just so many different things. And like you said, some training drills that you just did, just poof, lucky to make it through.
You got to train like you fight. That's.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish the military, really did that even harder. The conventional military, but it is dangerous. Absolutely. I can only imagine, when a heavy, 10,000 plus pound vehicle leaves the aircraft, with a chute, and it's dragged out of the aircraft, that it could drag you out. It could, you could get your arm ripped off. I mean, just it's an insane amount of power you're witnessing in that moment, you know, and that split
But you know
second.
what's amazing to me too, though, is you think of the average age of the people you did that with. You know, I mean, isn't it amazing to think that, you know, most people are in their early to mid 20s, and
Yep.
if not,
Some are a little
all
younger.
this responsibility and on your shoulders. And
When I was on the ground in Iraq, I was, you know, 20, 21, 22 years old, and I was responsible for evaluating, assessing the SAT imagery, and the grid coordinates for the operations and objectives that day, and mapping out the route and understanding, you know, everything related to the movement to the locations. And I was just, you know, when I speak to 20-year-olds or 21-year-olds sometimes that I run into, you know, anywhere, it's a different kind of responsibility or discipline, you know, that you see in soldiers or service members than just with the college kids. Nothing against college, though. I mean, it's just you have to grow up fast.
Yeah.
Vic, we're live still, right?
Yep, still live, going on about an hour.
Was there anybody? I don't want to keep these guys on too long, but was there anybody watching even?
Oh, there were a couple people.
Yeah.
Kind of off now.
So those riddles, guys, you know, the more you take, the more you leave behind. What am I? Footsteps.
Perfect.
And then what has a head, a tail, is brown, and has no legs?
It's not a snake.
A penny.
Oh. Now, what was the answer to the first one, please?
Footsteps.
That's not brown.
Footsteps.
That's bronze.
It's brown. It's copper. Copper brown. Copper top brown.
All right, Lonnie. Don't be so pacific. I'll tell you what, it's nice to chat with you guys.
Man.
I got a lot of respect for you two, the stuff you do and all that. And
well,
I really, really take my hat off to you two.
Well, that's why I wanted to give you guys a voice. This is like, you know, like we talking like this publicly, I think gives people perspective, and especially when we open up and we talk about things. And I appreciate you guys' friendship, and thank you for being on. I'm not gonna. I want to let you guys go though, because we've been doing this an hour now, and I know you guys have lives.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. I appreciate it, and like I said, hats off to you for pushing through on that Appalachian Trail, and hopefully I'll get a run into you again myself here soon on something. And
yeah, well, listen, Lonnie, stay in touch with me. I mean, if there's something out there that you think I'd be interested in, just reach out to me, and I tell Steve the same thing. And if I come across something I think you might be interested in, I'll reach out to you guys.
Most definitely.
Yeah, buddy.
Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. You guys sign off, and then I'm gonna say a few more things and end the show.
All right.
So
thank
you guys for being on.
Have a good one.
Yep,
Take care,
bye-bye.
guys.
Yep, bye.
The Lonnie and Larry Show. Those guys are great. So hopefully, you know, the intro and everything went well. You
think so? Yeah.
And
yeah, everything seems like it went well on there. We got somebody watching again.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's on demand. They'll be able to watch it later. Be sure to, you know, subscribe if you can. Share the video. You know, it's this is I'm learning how to be a host, so I don't know. This is just fun though, just to have conversation with people and learn a little bit more about my buddies. But I think this is goodbye. So take care and goodbye, everybody. Tune in next time.